Join us, I'm Jean Almond, your host for today's Buzz, and our guest today is Reuben Blackwell, the new chairman of the Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce. Our show today is brought to you by Roger G. Taylor and Associates. If you see Roger around town, tell him thank you for making this possible. And let's take a look right now at some recent events in our area.
Good morning. I'm Chris Miller, Councilwoman for Ward 7 of the City of Rocky Mount. It's my privilege and pleasure to be here with you today to celebrate the ribbon cutting and grand reopening of the RJ's Hot Dog Days. And I want to tell you a little bit about the owner. That's Rhonda Johnson. Rhonda is a transplant to North Carolina from the big, busy, bustling city of Baltimore. Right, and as often happens with downtown entrepreneurs, it's the folks from out of the city and out of the state that see the opportunity here and that are showing the way to our local folks for investing in starting businesses downtown, and we're so thrilled to have them here. Rhonda shared that she has left the security of a government job and is striking out on her own. She was an employment specialist for the city of Baltimore and the state of North Carolina, and she's been in that line of work since 1983. She also worked on the Amtrak train on the weekends, and that's when she realized the opportunity and the need that existed here in the train station to have a place for passengers, travelers to get food. She purchased a cart and was selling hot dogs from that outside the train station. And she recently feels blessed to have had the opportunity to obtain the former Whistle Stop Cafe. And it's here then that she has set up her new hot dog station and calls it RJ's Hot Dog Days. And we're so pleased to have her here. We know that passengers are really going to enjoy and appreciate the opportunity to get food when they're traveling. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I would like to share with you this certificate from the Office of the Mayor. This is from the City of Rocky Mount, presented to RJ's Hot Dog Days on the occasion of the ribbon cutting with our sincere best wishes, and it's signed by David W. Combs, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
First, I want to thank everyone for being here. I'm Bobby Booth with the Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce, and we are delighted to welcome Ms. Rhonda and RJ's Hot Dog Days into the train station and as a member of the Chamber. I remember last summer her being outside with her cart and was very excited that we had opportunity to have food during the day without having to leave the building. It's very nice convenience to have, and as someone that sits right above her location with my office at the Chamber, I smell these wonderful smells all day long. And so I'm a customer down here and enjoy the hot dogs. They have all the fixings you could even hope to imagine to place on hot dog, as well as a lot of accompaniments for the meals. So they do a fabulous job. The food is excellent, and on behalf of our board of directors, our members, we're very, very pleased to welcome you not only to the train station and to downtown, but as a member of the Chamber of Commerce and to the Rocky Mount area. We hope you'll be here a long time.
Like I said, or like you said, I gave up my good government job to sell hot dogs, and people, of course, think I have lost my ever-loving mind. And I think I enjoy doing this pretty much close to anything that I've done. I met so many different people that come through here, and I try to treat them all like family members, and they act like family members. I have some that come in every single day, and the more junk I talk to them, the more they come back. I'm just really pleased to be here, and like I said, I really enjoy being here. The people seem to enjoy us being here because they keep returning. I have some folks that I met when I first came to North Carolina that have become some of my best customers. So I just hope that I'm going to be here for a while and continue to be able to keep serving them and move on from here. And anytime you need a good hot dog, you just need to come to RJ's Hot Dog Days.
It is such a pleasure to welcome our friend, Reuben Blackwell. Reuben, new chairman of the Rocky Mount Area Chamber. Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jane.
And you are not new to chamber work, leadership, whatnot, are you?
No, I've done it all just about. First of all, as a staff member, it was because of the Rocky Mount Chamber that I'm in Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount Chamber recruited me here a long time ago in the 80s to work to help it establish a small business and minority business program. And so I began my career here after leaving the bank. I was a banker. I worked with Citibank in Baltimore in the Mid-Atlantic region.
Wow, and you graduated from Chapel Hill.
Yeah,
Go
but
Heels.
you can never lose with UNC, right?
And you grew up in Roxborough, so you
That's
were
correct.
coming home to North Carolina.
I was coming home. You know what? The blizzards drove me back home. You know, we had about 3 blizzards, literally blizzards that covered up cars, and you know, we were digging our way out about 3 times in 3 years, and I said, that's enough.
Well, we better
So-
slow them down here then.
That's
or
right.
we'll
That's
drive you south. So,
That's the key, huh? That's the
but so banking and then chamber work.
Then chamber work, and then I left the Rocky Mount Chamber and joined the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce, and there, that's when I went into international business and trade, investment and development, as well as entrepreneurial support and technology support.
And that led then to your position now as CEO of Opportunities Industrial Center Incorporated.
That's right. That's right. You did.
Industrialization.
Industrialization Center Incorporated
Okay,
here in
and
Rocky Mount.
Is that a national organization?
It is. We were founded in about 1964 by Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan, who was a civil rights leader. He was an organizer, worked along with A. Philip Randolph and the railroad workers, the union there. And Dr. Sullivan was also a fiery Baptist preacher whose job it was to really see that people had an opportunity to succeed in every walk of life. And so Dr. Sullivan coalesced the faith community in the Philadelphia area, helped them understand their power together, working together, and working with industry, created new job opportunities for, at that time, a point in America where things were very segregated, and there were no opportunities for people of color in industry. And so they worked together, convinced industry that they needed to give everyone a chance, and then created a program to help bridge the gap. He always said that integration without preparation would lead to chaos. And so OIC was created in order to help people develop skills that would be able to be used in a business setting. And so we have now grown to be the largest community-based network of education and training services in the world, literally. We have OICs throughout Africa, some in Europe, growing in the Caribbean, and throughout the United States. And
Reuben, you wear a hat of helping with health concerns too, not only with your medical center, but I know that on many occasions you have had people at your Virginia Street location when the Chancellor of Chapel Hill came through and was looking at health disparities and talking about partnering with communities. At what point did you layer the health component to what you're doing?
Well, OIC was really approached by the state of North Carolina years before I even assumed the role of CEO. And we always had a history of working in communities in an outreach manner. And so we started early, probably, Jean, 20 years ago, working with the message of what HIV and AIDS were doing in this community. When I came on board and we began to expand our focus with our board of directors, we recognized that not only was HIV prevalent and our people were susceptible because of lack of information and knowledge, but we were also hurting and dying from hypertension and diabetes and cancers and anything that you could name, you know, because it all ties together with poverty, lack of information and education, and lack of access to resources. And so we have been able to grow into a facility and a center that really provides an integrated approach to health education and prevention, screening, and then of course primary care. And thank you for being a great partner yourself.
Oh, sure. Well, and I
with-
applaud you for so much of what you're doing, because we are right now working with y'all to synchronize prescriptions.
Yes.
There are lots of new strategies that have been found that help with compliance, and of course
Yes.
people, if they take their prescriptions in a timely,
Right.
as prescribed manner, the outcomes are so much better, and people don't have to
Right.
suffer strokes and loss of vision and
That's right.
whatnot if they can take care of themselves.
And key to that is making access to good prescription and good medicine affordable, Gene, and Almonds has done that, working together with OIC in a tremendous way for our patients, just making it affordable to have these drugs so people are not having to choose between, well, what do I eat this week, and do I need to count my pills and I only take 2 instead of 4 or whatever, because that doesn't help. You know.
Well, this is our community, and we both love it.
That's
so
right,
we
we do.
need to help in any way we
That's
can.
right.
And speaking of that, a lot of your knowledge of the community, served on the city council, mayor pro tem, you're very involved with the NAACP. You do a lot of outreach with economic development, not only with your profession, but serving on boards. That's a perfect preparation for being the chairman of our chamber. But now, how are you
Well-
going to fit that in time-wise?
Well, you know, I got help, right?
Right.
And I can say this, Rocky Mount has been good to me. And people have been very friendly and supportive and working together. I think when we try to establish some common goals and objectives, that we all want to see a future where everybody is included in prosperity and success, then we find ways to get it done.
Well, and in the chamber, quite frankly, I think it's wonderful that we have diversity in leadership, because our community is a diverse community.
Yes, we are. And in fact, people don't really know this perhaps, but in the chamber world, Rocky Mount has always been a leader in integrating our perspectives to reflect our community. When I was brought in, I was not the first African American hired.
Robert Evans.
Well,
Oh, no,
not even
hire
that.
you, but also chairman.
That's right, yeah, Robert
Yeah.
Evans was chairman, but when
Right.
I was a staff member, I was preceded by Mr. Wiggins, and Leonard Wiggins' brother, and he, Clarence Wiggins, and he was the first black person hired on this staff in 100-some years, and I followed him and was able to break more ground. Robert Evans was on the board, along with Jim Odom, Hunter Odom Funeral Home, Willie Powell, who recruited me to work with OIC, who was my predecessor, and several other individuals, Connie Cavanis, who had a very thriving daycare at that time, and they were all chamber members at that time when it was unheard of for black people to be members of the Chamber of Commerce, and Rocky Mount was leading the way.
Good.
In fact, Jack Lockery with Hardee's Food Systems at the time, who's passed on, had a tremendous vision for making sure that we had a community that valued business and that there were business opportunities for everyone.
Great.
You know.
And Bob Malden also,
Bob
the
Malden
late Bob
was right
Malden
there,
was
that's
just
right.
incredible.
He really was. And I'm just saying, Dick Futrell, you know, all these guys and ladies, Betsy Stramberg, you know, were there to help craft a vision that said we've got to find a way, if we want to have a long-term, energetic, and economically viable community, we've got to find a way to help everyone work together. And that was my job. Now, you know, what I found in the work of helping people work together, it's not easy, it's not always fun, a lot of conflict takes place, and sometimes we confuse conflict with people having long-standing anger with each other, and that's not the case. Jim Johnson taught us when,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Keenan
good, you said
Flagler,
Keenan
wonderful.
Flagler, that's right,
Yeah.
but he led that original study that we looked at that now preceded our regional vision initiative. Jim told us, he said, when you're building coalitions, that's messy work, and people sometimes want to get to the end of it quickly, but you got to go through a process where people learn to trust each other, trying to understand what everybody brings to the table, and if we can just keep our eyes on what we want the outcome to be, and that's success for everybody, and a re-energized long-term beneficial, economically viable community. That's what we want, I
Oh,
think.
yeah. And we're going to take a quick break, but I want to pick right back up on that as soon as we get back. Stay with us, please.
The Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce serves as the voice of business to affect positive change and build a stronger economy. The Chamber and its membership proudly present one of our newest members, Partnering for Prosperity. Central East Ag Supply Inc., a family-owned farming equipment business and official Southern States dealer at 2220 Southwest Lynn Boulevard, carrying agriculture, commercial, and residential equipment. Owners Nelson and Amy Brantley have something for everyone, so visit them today. Brought to you by the Rocky Mount Area Chamber and WHIG TV, a partner for better business, stronger communities, and a brighter future. Become a Chamber member today. Learn more at www.rockymountchamber.org.
And we're back. Reuben, we were talking about how the community, that Dr. Johnson, who is
Yes.
just incredible, was talking that, and he's studied this all over the country.
Yes.
But there are some pains with getting to the end. We can't just jump to the end and
That's
say
right.
it's done, it's fixed. And it's
That's
part
right.
of that process. Ward Tabernacle, with their
Yes.
public forum the other night, addressing gang violence and addressing poverty and addressing families. I mean, I think the community has never been more poised to say, we all need to be a part of this.
Yes, and our community in Rocky Mount has a history of showing up when it's time to talk solutions. You know, several years ago, when there was violence that had occurred, which preceded the event that took place at Word Tabernacle, all these events are horrible and they're devastating to our community.
Like at Lakeside.
Like at
when-
Lakeside, right.
yeah.
But you think OIC, we had a forum at OIC, 600 people there, you know, and Lakeside filled with folks. We have got to recognize that people want to be part of solution-based conversations, you know, and in order to get to solutions, you do have to look at whatever the issues are. But even the gang violence, we got to go deeper than that.
Right.
Jane, you know, we got to go deeper to what is it that spurs, creates, and fosters an environment where people choose alternative options as opposed to doing those things that you know will lead to success. So what I am confident of is that we have enough intellectual capital in this community and enough people whose hearts are really engaged in seeing what's good for Rocky Mount in every perspective, that we're going to get this job done. What I do want to say that Jim Johnson told us is that there are 14,000 communities. Check this, not 3 or 4, not Middlesex versus Canada, you know, not Rocky Mount versus Greenville. There are 14,000 communities in the world looking for business growth and expansion, trying to recruit companies to move from one place to the other. So when you see a place like the Twin Counties region that we're living in, we've got to value the assets that we do have and then build on what works. When I look at the 301 corridor and you look at Hospira, you look at Cummins, you know, not far away at Tarboro, you have Nomeco, you have Cahin, you know, in Edgecombe County, you have Whitaker's Business Park, we have, you know, tremendous facilities that serve communities around the world. We have a high-functioning workforce. You know, too often we talk about what's not right and people aren't educated and there's too many of this and too little of that. Well, let's look at what is working. You know, Cummins has one of the best records of anybody in their manufacturing network.
In the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
Right
They
here in
just
Rocky-
added a new product I read this past weekend.
And I'm sure you're going to be covering that
Yeah.
sometime soon because that's working. Hospira, you know, competitive around the world from
Growing,
Rocky.
adding new people.
Adding new people, you
Yeah.
know, millions of dollars of investments taking place. Nomeco, I was reading in the newspaper today, has products that are going around the world. You know, MBM, you know, just merged not long
Warren
ago.
Buffett bought
Yeah,
it.
I'm just saying,
He wants something Rocky Mount. Good for us.
how much better can it get?
Yeah. Wait,
You
and does
know, how
that
much
kind of
better.
segue into your focus as
Yes.
chairman of our chamber?
Yes, it does. Hopefully within this year, what we'll be able to do is help lift our vision of who we are, who we really are. You know, there's a scripture that says that as a person thinks in their heart, so is he or she.
And you're a
he or she.
pastor too.
I am.
throw
I
that
have to
in.
fit that in somewhere
Yeah.
along the way.
In your spare time,
in my spare,
right?
but you know what? The Lord has been good to me. And anything that has worked, I credit it to Him being merciful to me and giving me a network of great friends like yourself and others who help with information and access. But if we think we're terrible, then we define our future as terrible. But if we think we're great, and if we celebrate that which is great, and if we work with that which is not as great as we want it to be, we'll get to greatness. But you can't have a vision of negativity and fear and depression and think that out of that mix of vile vapors, it's going to come anything good. We've got to address what's not working, create plans to overcome those things, and then focus on what is going to be healthy for our region and for all of our community. I'd love to see downtown re-emerge as the hub of everything great in Eastern North Carolina. A hub of banking, which we have been before. There's no reason why we can't be that again. A hub of technology. If we're going to have a sustaining, globally competitive economy, it's got to be education-based and it's got to be technology-based. We can't base a growing economy on cheap labor anymore. That was an old model, and it really didn't work then, and it ain't going to work going into the future. So now let's grasp our future, get ahead of the curve. That's why I'm very excited about North Carolina Wesleyan's Entrepreneurial Center, and then the Chamber's role in working with the city and Wesleyan, UNC Chapel Hill again. I don't know why that just keeps coming back.
Well, and Edgecombe Community College now putting that big health
biotech center
right in downtown Rocky Mount.
Rocky Mount. Soon another bank is going to be announcing a great headquarters, a new construction project, which I hope.
Commitment.
Huge commitment, and this whole community needs to embrace that. All of it's taking place downtown, and I'm going to say it, yes, the proposed event center, I say, oh, dread it. But let me tell you something, if we don't do something to change and shift our attention and focus, if that's not it, then it needs to be something. So let's evaluate that, keep an open mind, and then see what we can do to bring energy and excitement to all the Twin Counties.
Well, and we really are blessed with North Carolina Wesleyan and two fabulous community colleges.
Yes.
But as you're saying, we need to address some of the issues that are preventing our young people from wanting to get education, to be supported in their home lives and in their educational pursuits.
And Jane, when you break it all down, to why do companies move into communities? They move into communities because they're great places to live and work and play. And we got to have some great play in Rocky Mount. That's what's exciting to me about our sports history, and then the facilities that we have that accommodate sports that is very youth oriented. We've got to promote and encourage creativity in the arts, look to make sure that we're doing things that bring in folks, and all of our entertainment, barbecue throwdown, the festivals downtown.
Yeah, all summer long. It's just fabulous.
All types of things.
And they're free, too.
They're free, so how much better can it get? All these things, I believe, will precede and help spur economic development from the private sector. And we'll see a community and a city and a region that everyone wants to live. We are the jewel in the East. I believe that. I really believe that in my heart. And I believe that we're going to see that jewel shine and emerge.
Perfect thing to close on, Reuben.
Thank you.
Couldn't have been better. And thank you for your leadership. We look forward to seeing what you're going to do, and we appreciate it.
And I appreciate the Chamber and all of our businesses who are trusting that we'll work together to make something great happen. Thank you.
Super. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you next week.